Before I start, I want to tell you I'm giving away a set of 150 Prismacolor pencils and your choice of my coloring books, and the artist version of my #1 selling book, The Buns, printed on 110-pound smooth cardstock, will be done and available this week. Hi, it's Dia. Today I'm going to take this magical pencil from the Guang Hui Hero set and color an image from my new coloring book called The Buns. And I'm going to show you why I think that one pencil, number 162, which I renamed Sunglow, is almost worth the entire cost of the set. So this is a very interesting trick that I stumbled upon by accident. So the first thing I'm going to do, what we're going to do here is draw leaves. So I sharpened this number 162 to a very sharp point. And now I'm just drawing some freehand veins in the leaf. There's one indication going down the center, kind of a line to separate the top and the bottom, or the left and the right side of the leaf. And now I'm going out in kind of jaggedy, lightning shaped lines. And you can do it any way you like. I like mine a little bit more natural looking. Some people like it very straight and stylized. So draw the leaf any way you like. And probably seems a little backwards because most of the time I don't start with the light. So now I made a little mistake here. I took number 164, which is also another day glow kind of color, and I started to color in the leaf, and I was trying to go for 142 actually, which I now picked up. And as you can see, you can go right over the top of the veins that you just drew, and the glowing bright yellow or very light neon green stands out. So what I'm going to do here is just basically color in the entire leaf. I'm going to leave this real time because it's not that long of a video. And I decided I was going to make a few more little veins in there. I like when things are busy and interesting. And then I just went back to 142 and continued to color over it. Guang Hui pencils are interesting. You can hear that little sketchy noise as I'm drawing in this leaf, and somehow these Hero or Guang Hui pencils manage to be dry and sketchy and creamy at the same time. The darker ones are even creamier than the lighter ones. The lighter ones seem to be a little drier for me. I don't know why. Maybe there's a little bit more filler in there, and maybe the pigment is what makes the darker ones seem even creamier than the lighter ones. Now I took number 78 from the set, and I went relatively close to the edge of the vein. And I wasn't really that worried because you can push relatively hard. And those veins, since you went over them with that 162 pencil, are going to remain light. So I wanted them to stand out even more, so I went toward the edges of the top and of the bottom, and toward the edges of the interior of the vein. And I'm starting to layer. In some points of this video, I even pushed a little harder than I normally would. I'm back to 142, just blending in those two colors. I pushed a little harder than I normally would because I was almost testing to see how much those veins could take without being covered over. Now I do another leaf a little bit later with a very dark green, number 149, and it does, I can't even say it covers it, it alters the color of the veins a bit and makes them almost like a pure neon green rather than a yellow. Oh, what I did there was take number 4, and now I'm taking 155 coloring the stem, and I just took number 4 and went over various areas because I like when the leaves look not perfect, not messy, but I like when they're interesting. Now I'm taking 155 and 124 and going in again and even going closer to those veins. And I wanted both ends of the leaf to be the darkest part. I kind of wanted the illusion that it was slightly bent upward, meaning the two tips were kind of pointing down and the center of the leaf was popped up a bit. By the end of it, it didn't really come out that way because I ended up shading it a little bit differently, but I like the fact that those ends of the leaves were dark anyway. So it's another example where you think you're going to do one thing and then something else happens and you're very happy with the result anyway. Now I'm back to 142 and I'm blending in the 124 that I used very close to the vein. So you can see by making it darker, closer to the vein, it kind of made it stand out even more. Now you don't have to be this fussy at all. I'm just showing you different techniques, or I don't even know if they're techniques, to be perfectly honest with you. I'm just showing you different things that you can do to add interest and different designs to the surface of the leaf to make it look not so flat. And I was going to say colorful, but not colorful. I guess a little more realistic, yet it's not quite realistic because that leaf is very, very green. So that's when I started to pick up 155 and add some more color variations in there. Now that's a brown, and that's number 70, and I'm adding some shading with a really sharp point to the bottom part of that little tiny stem. And I'm also adding a little bit of shadows and a little bit of veining throughout the leaf. Not too much because I didn't want to overshadow those pretty veins that were already light. If you put a darker pencil next to a lighter pencil, the lighter part looks like it's standing out more, and the darker one puts that area into a recess or a shadow. And there it is. Now I'm taking the same colors, I'm using that 162 again, and I'm going in and making lines on this leaf that's growing from the ground. And I'm going to use the same colors, and I just want to see how this comes out. I'm going to go over that 162 with number 4, which is basically like a marigold, like a very rich yellow. And I want to see if you can still see the 162 through it. And I don't know if you can tell because the sun is starting to set here and it's a pretty bright shadow, but you can see it. I went over that with 78. Actually didn't go over it. I went around the perimeter. And as I'm going out toward the perimeter more, I'm taking darker and darker pencils. And then I'm going to take 166 and go around the outside of that. And 78. I'm blending again. And I'm going over a little bit of that marigold area too, which is number 4, and adding some green to that. This is basically the same idea as what I did above. I just wanted to see what it would look like in a different kind of leaf. Now I'm taking 149, a dark brown. I would probably call this walnut. Add some shadows to the bottom and some lines. Actually, no, I'm sorry. 149 is the dark green. 70 is the walnut color. Then I'm going to go back to 78. Make some more lines. And there it is in the very bright sunset. Now I thought I would just do one more leaf in the same method. I'm going to use the 162, but in this one I'm going to go over that very light color with a very dark green, and I'm going to see what happens. So it's a little more stylized, the lines are a little straighter, and I just went over the top with 124. No, I didn't. I started out with 78. I forgot about that part. I pushed really hard because I wanted to see if it was going to get covered. But as you can see, no matter how hard I push, you can still see those lines. So I took the 162, just went over it one more time. Made the same mistake as I did before. Went over it with that neon green and then changed it up to 78. That's 155. I'm just smoothing everything out at this point to make it look a little more blended. Now I'm going in with the 124 and trying to cover that black line from the coloring book a little bit. making the area closer to the center vein a little bit darker. Just going over the top again with 142. I guess I was pushing a little too hard there. So I'm blending the whole thing. Adding some 155. And you don't have to put it in the same areas that I am. I'm just adding different colors to the leaf, because the leaf would never be perfect. There would be areas of brown or dark brown. Some parts of the leaf might be ripped or dying, so I like to add all of those things. Now I'm adding the dark brown. I'm making the area close to the vein look very dark, so it even stands out more. So the veins now look like they're actually raised higher than the leaf. So that's kind of a cool effect. So to finish all this off, I ended up doing one more leaf, and I just put the veins in just like I did with the other leaves, but instead of going over it with Guang Hui pencils, I went over it with one of my favorites, which are polychromos pencils. And as you can see, it's not perfect, but it worked. So I was really happy to see that too. So thank you so much for watching my Guang Hui trick, and please tell me if you think it's as cool as I do. Don't forget to subscribe below and hit that bell button so you won't miss a thing. Also, find the link below and enter my Prismacolor giveaway. You have a chance to win a set of 150 Prismacolor pencils and your choice of my coloring books. Also, join my Facebook coloring gallery so I can see all the beautiful work that you do also. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you soon. Oh, and the video coming up this week will be shading and I guess shading. So I'll talk to you soon. See you later. Bye.